Alabama escaped with a win at home against Texas A&M 24-20. Game came down to the very last play, but I want to broaden the scope a little bit. What did we learn about the Crimson Tide in last night's close win? I think there's a couple takeaways. First and foremost, Bryce Young did not play in this game. He was questionable all day. They had him run through a throwing workout before the game as a game-time decision. Wasn't good to go. Jalen Milroe, you're in the ballgame. And we saw the impact of that. Alabama only threw for 111 yards the entire game. I think on top of that, you saw this team have a different level of composure. When Bryce Young's in the game, there is a sense of calm. This team doesn't panic. And there were multiple times last night where this Alabama offense especially just looked out of sorts. Now, I know Bryce Young was in pads. He still had an impact on the game. He was still talking to Jalen Milroe, but there was so much during this game where it felt like if number 9's out there, they're probably either in a different play or the team responds differently to swings of momentum. I think number 9 being in the game makes all the difference for Alabama. And so going forward, you got to have Bryce Young. And Nick Saban sort of alluded to it in his post-game interview, talking about maybe we'll get the quarterback healthy, this, that, and the other. But that's crucial for Alabama. I mean, if they don't have Bryce Young, they probably already have a loss on their record against Texas. And I know Alabama fans won't be happy to hear that, but I think that's just the truth. He's such an impactful player. Not having him last night, you saw the impacts of that. The second thing that I think we learned last night about Alabama, this is still a program that is very much an unfinished product. Going into the season, there was so much talking about how good they were going to be, how they had tasted their own blood, and we took part in it in this program. And we talked about how good Alabama was going to be, and they still have a chance to accomplish all of the goals that they want to, but there is a lot of things about this team that is very far from where Nick Saban expects it to be long-term. Like, there were things last night that Alabama just doesn't traditionally do. I mean, you saw unsportsmanlike penalties from guys that are newer to this program. Jermaine Burton, unsportsmanlike penalty, transfer from Georgia. It's his first year on the team. J.C. Latham gets an unsportsmanlike. It's his first year starting. He's only a sophomore. They turned the ball over 4 times and still won the game. But how many times have you seen a Nick Saban coach ball club give it away 4 different times? Now, I understand a fair amount of those were attributed to your second-string quarterback, but that's sort of the point that I'm making here. Alabama, right now, today, is going to be a different team than they were yesterday. Alabama is a team that I think come November, probably December, we're going to see a much improved program. So they were fortunate to win last night, but there was a lot of things that I think you look at as a Crimson Tide fan and say, wow, we still got some ways to go. I mean, kicking field goals, that reared its head last night. The secondary continued to have issues. You saw Evan Stewart, who is going to be a really good football player for A&M down the road. He's a name we're going to have to talk about a lot around the college football landscape. He was looking like a superstar last night. I mean, he had multiple plays against this Alabama secondary where he just straight up sunned a lot of these DBs. And so that's another thing that we've continued to see against this Alabama secondary. I mean, Texas, their big body tight ends, receivers, whatever you want to call it, had issues defending the pass. And so, again, that's not something that we've been accustomed to seeing from Nick Saban coach teams, but it's something they're going to have to shore up to get to where they want to go. Because I promise you, going to Tennessee next week, you better come with your A game in the secondary. So, again, 24-20, Alabama still finds a way to win the game, and they played about as sloppy as you could in multiple facets. But at the end of the day, what Alabama wanted to do, running the football, leaning on those big boys, they were able to do. Jahmyr Gibbs, you once again see his impact on the game. They were able to just turn around, hand the ball to him, and have pretty much 4 yards a carry, 5 yards a carry. I mean, it was just consistently Jahmyr Gibbs keeping this offense on schedule. And we're going to break this whole thing down tonight in our live show. We're going to talk about more of the A&M side of things, more of the gameplay of things, but I didn't feel like they managed Jalen Milroe particularly well. I mean, if you don't have Jahmyr Gibbs in the game, I mean, I don't know if you're able to really lean on him as much as you were able to. You're not able to turn around and run outside zone as much as you were able to. So Alabama's still, I think, a long way off from what we're going to see from them, but I think that's the biggest takeaway. They're not a finished product. There is a lot of ground to still be made for this program, and I promise you, it will not be a fun week of practice in Tuscaloosa. All that's to say, though, Alabama continues to play well, continues to find ways to win. Got a big one next week in Knoxville. That's it for us here in the Hard Count. Appreciate you tuning in. If you haven't already, subscribe to the channel. We are live tonight breaking down everything that happened yesterday on your college football Saturday. We want you along for the ride. We want you here, want you in the live chat. So until then, we will see y'all tonight, and we will keep the party rolling. We will see y'all next time.